Second segment, which normally is going to be our kind of hot take on what is going on in the racing world at the moment. But for our first show, we thought that we would just go deep on racing in general and focus on three championships that we love: NASCAR, Formula One, and IndyCar. We live in a world where everyone wants to criticize everything. Everyone knows what's wrong and what needs to be fixed, and I'm not denying there's room for improvement in the world of motorsports, but let me tell you what I'm seeing. I just went to my first Daytona 500, and I mean, you saw. It was electric. I had the best time. But the thing about NASCAR that I think I'm most impressed with is they seem to have remembered who they are, right? Their marketing video earlier this season, it was a giant punch in the face to the Formula One comparisons and reminded fans, I think, of their uniquely American roots. They still got work to do, obviously, to reclaim levels of popularity from back when you raced. But got to tell you, I'm extremely excited about drivers, in particular like SVG, who I will probably glaze every week on this show, Connor Zilic, and all this excitement around the 2311 team. Then I look over at Formula One, and everyone wants to call it an overnight success, but I know from firsthand experience, yes, it was anything but. It took a while. They've methodically marketed this series into the global powerhouse that it is today. And drivers like Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, they're bona fide global superstars. They released the highest grossing racing film of all time last summer. Drive to Survive, one of the most watched reality shows of all time, going now into its, eighth season. But that said, it has major challenges ahead in America where they were seeing sizable growth. But moving behind the Apple paywall this season, it is a bold move. Will they continue to bring in the new fans they're hoping for? Which then brings us along neatly to IndyCar. In its first year with Fox, it had its most watched Indy 500 in 17 years. This offseason, the series added new drivers from new nations and a name in Mick Schumacher that resonates internationally. His father, of course, being one of the most recognized and celebrated in motor racing history, allowing it to restructure and add more international broadcast partners. In addition, they're returning to Phoenix and adding new races in Arlington, Markham, and the Freedom 250 in DC. In my opinion, competition has never been higher in the world of motorsports, and we have huge tailwinds behind us. It's one of the reasons I'm most excited that we're launching this show to cover it all. So those three aspects there of racing. Should we start with NASCAR, which appears, mate, to be in rude health?
Well, when you talk about recognizing who you are, and I think motorsports in general has gone away from, they've gone away from horsepower, they've gone to this trying to make it more fair for everybody. Motorsports has always been about who could build the most badass car and the things that they can do on the racetrack. It's been loud, it's been in your face. And I think from a NASCAR standpoint, when you look at all the things that we've tried to do with playoffs. Well, we don't have playoffs in motorsports. That's for football, and that's for basketball and baseball and all those things. Just accept who we are. And I think NASCAR has really wrapped its arms around their Hell Yeah campaign and everything that they have going on with their marketing side. But just be who we are. That's what got us to the point of NASCAR being the most popular sport on the racing side in America. And, I think as we continue to move forward and do that, people want to watch us who want to watch us. There's no reason to try to go out and make yourself something else for a small group of people that aren't going to be hardcore fans. We have a great fan base, and I love the fact that we've got back to trying to be who we are.
They consulted you on that, did they not?
Well, look, we've been through a lot of changes.
Yeah.
With the lawsuit, Steve Phelps going away, Steve O'Donnell coming back into, being at the top of the NASCAR executive team. So, Steve's been around for a long time. Obviously, I have an opinion. Dale Jr. has an opinion. There's a lot of us that have opinions on what we do. And I think Mark Martin's big push to be traditional point system. We're back to the chase, and that traditional NASCAR style of racing is what our fans want to see, and they want it to be pure. I think we got a little too far away from the pure aspect of what NASCAR racing is, and I think we're back on a great road to get that corrected.
Are we already starting to see a shift in driver mindset? Like after 2 races, when you look at the fact you've got 23-11 in the top 2 spots in the championship, the fact that stage points are key. Every point is key because it's about a championship table, not just taking that overall win.
I think you have to shift it. You look at Kyle Larson. We talk about Kyle Larson being fast. His mistake this weekend is a big dent in his points. And Tyler Reddick winning the first 2 races, you see the magnitude of winning a race and being there for every stage. But the way that our season has started right now with 2 super speedways basically in the first 2 weeks of the points-paying season puts a lot of guys in a bad position. You look at the point standings and you better start counting points because if you're one of those guys that doesn't have the capabilities to go out and win races like Tyler Reddick has done or Kyle Larson is going to do, it's going to be a long road back to the top of that points pile. And if you're outside of that first 5 or 6 when the chase starts, you're not winning the championship. It's not possible. You got
great names, great personalities, really marketable assets as drivers in the championship, not least young Connor Zilic, who arrives on a wave of publicity, mega season last year. He's so highly rated, around the motorsport world, whether it's Cup, whether it's open wheel, everyone looks to Connor as being this generational talent. Like, how good is he and how good a season do you think he could have?
Well, to put it in perspective for our viewers that are outside of the NASCAR world, he's the miss that F1 had. He would have been as competitive as any American could have possibly ever been. Went through the karting system, had the capabilities and the knowledge and the speed and the smarts to be able to put it together, and he can adapt to anything that he drives. Thank God they missed, keeping him overseas. But I mean, I
still want to bring him to IndyCar. I still want him to do a 500.
Well, I'd love to see him, not only at the Indy 500, but it'd be great to see one of these guys jump out there and do both races in one weekend when we're together.
Oh yeah,
I think that would be so intriguing to have somebody run both races at Phoenix, and I like the fact that Zilic. He has the right sponsor with Red Bull. It's great for a platform like that from a marketing side. But I think that while he's young, let him do the IndyCar stuff and do the things that it takes because he's still learning. He's one of the guys that's at the bottom of the pile in the point system already, and a lot to learn as he goes down the path here through the season.
Let's move to IndyCar quickly. Preseason testing is done. I'm hugely excited for the season. Obviously, Alex Palou, 4-time champion now, going for his 5th. Only one driver in history has ever won 4 on the bounce. He could do that again this year. It's going to be a massive challenge for his rivals to get on his level.
Can anybody beat him?
Yeah, of course. And of course.
But I mean, realistically, are there expectations to beat him?
So here's the thing. I remember last year talking to the drivers before the season started, and they were all to a man like, yeah, he's beatable. And then you ask that same question this year, and they're a lot more measured in their responses because they see the level that he's at. And they know that target on his back isn't static. It will have increased over the winter. He will have moved himself to another level. So if you're aiming for where Palou was last year, you're going to miss. You got to aim higher. He's just phenomenal. It's his feel, it's his intelligence, his race brain. Everything about him is on such a high level. But is he beatable? Absolutely. Anyone in racing is beatable.
Who is it? Who's the top contender to beat Palou?
So I'm really excited to see what Newgarden can do this year. First year last year with McLaren, and now he's got his feet under the table. He really needs to sort of step on, and I think he will. And McLaren, are looking to do in IndyCar what they did in Formula One, which is to have those incremental gains and year on year improve to the point where they can go out and win the championship, as they proved they could last year with Lando Norris. Having won back-to-back team titles in Formula One as well. I think Will Power on a revenge tour at Andretti is going to be great to see. Scott McLaughlin is fired up at Penske. He's really taken on that team leadership
I like the Malukas
role.
kid.
I love Malukas as well, but let's not forget he's never even won an IndyCar race.
Right.
So putting the weight of, is he going to win the title in his first season with Penske? Like, that's the expectation, obviously, because you're racing for Penske.
Absolutely.
But that's a massive challenge, like absolutely huge.
So when you shift from IndyCar to F1, I mean, I like to call it a soap opera.
Yeah.
Because it is. And when they kind of set themselves up for that when you do the Netflix stuff and everything. That's how it's presented, right?
Yeah.
That's the marketing trick that they've used, and it's obviously very popular around the world. Not as much here in the US. It's obviously on the right path. But where do you see this all falling when we drop the green flag in Australia?
It's the biggest technical regulation change that Formula One has had possibly in its history. Because it's not just an aerodynamic change for the cars, it's a completely different methodology of power delivery. It's now 50% battery, 50% internal combustion engine. And what that means is the drivers are having to completely relearn having to drive a car. Are they having to lift on the straight? Yeah, they are. They're having to brake way earlier in order to regen the power to give them the electric boost that they need in that car. So that was fascinating, seeing over the test in F1 how much that changed from test 1 to test 2. Seeing how some cars are, like the Mercedes, for example, like the factory Mercedes, wicked fast out of the corners, but braking way earlier than anybody else going into a corner. So how much of a disparity is that going to create in racing condition? The Ferrari, that car could qualify last, and I swear it would still be P1 by turn 1 because their launches are unreal. Great news if you're a fan of Cadillac, by the way, because Cadillac are running Ferrari engines in their first years in Formula One. And for the Haas F1 team as well, America's other Formula One team, they're running Ferrari engines. So that could be really, really great for them. But
tell me about the wing.
No one knows.
What about the wing? The wing is so intriguing. This is
fascinating. So second test, Ferrari turns up, right? Day one, they've got this extra winglet on the rear crash structure, which is exhaust blown. Very, very smart. It's well within the regulations, but it's going to be almost impossible to
look at that.
So this is a secondary thing. The little winglet behind the exhaust is one thing, right? It gives them a little bit of extra downforce through the corners. And everyone's like, that's great, but it'll give them drag on the straights. Then day 2, they turn up with this wing. So under the regulations this year, DRS, the drag reduction system, has been eliminated, and you now have what's termed straight mode. So the front wing and the rear wing on most cars will open in order to reduce drag on the straights. What Ferrari have done is not just open the wing, they're flipping it. So that was it, the first test, they just opened it. The second test, it flips 180.
Wow.
So what that does, you're not just reducing drag, you're creating lift. But that secondary wing by the exhaust is then creating a little bit of downforce just to balance it out. Because you don't want to lift the rear tires off the ground, right? It's so smart. It's very, very difficult to replicate now for all of the other teams. And if Ferrari have found something, that could be the silver bullet. And listen, with a new set of regulations, one team's going to find something.
Right. So Lewis Hamilton back to victory lane?
I think everyone is hoping for that. I think Lewis is hoping for that. And also the way these cars drive, right? Much looser at the rear, a little bit more snappy. We've seen cars four-wheel drifting around testing. That's a car that Lewis Hamilton loves.
So let me ask you this. Who wins first, Lewis Hamilton or Kyle Busch?
Well, I mean, with what
they're both on about the same losing streak.
I mean, with what we've seen out of Ferrari in testing, Lewis Hamilton, but it's testing, right? You don't know. Mercedes could turn up with an absolute box office engine.
Yeah.
You just don't. And you said it earlier. Until we get to Australia, there's no telling.
So when we go to the first race for F1, do they let it all go at Mercedes? I mean, do you think they put everything they have out there, or are they still playing the politics of what might happen? And there's obviously a regulations meeting that's going to happen about the engines before we even get there, correct?
So basically there's a compression ratio which all teams have to abide by, and it seemed that Mercedes found a loophole that the compression ratio that you have cold could be increased when the engine's hot. So they're legal when it's static and potentially outside of it. But the original test wasn't supposed to be done when it was at high temperatures. There is a vote coming on whether to change that test. But with all the teams having been rather upset at what Mercedes are doing, there's now no guarantee they're actually going to vote for it.
Right.
Even if they do, it won't come in until halfway through the season.
year.
So Mercedes and Mercedes-powered teams, they're fine till at least August. And who knows if the vote is even.
So do they unleash it at the first race?
Yeah, hell yeah.
All of it.
You unleash what you got.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
going to be interesting.
It's going to be immense.
Yes.
There is, of course, there's controversy already. Max Verstappen saying that he doesn't like these cars. Fernando Alonso saying that the team chef could drive these cars because you're having to drive them so much slower through the corners.
Well, his doesn't make very many laps, so I'd say that too.
Fernando's, I think he ran team ran 6 laps on the last day.
He's spending a lot of time with the chef, so.
Mate, the Honda engine, and last time we had a big regulation change like this, Honda got it completely wrong. Completely wrong. So big fear. I think big fear for Aston Martin, for Adrian Newey, for that whole team, and for Fernando as well, because he's not getting any younger.
No.
This was supposed to be the year where they made that step forward. But even Flavio Briatore, coming out this week and saying that, here we go, fans only understand 20%. We have to explain what is really happening. For the driver, it has become a completely different game. That's what Flavio said in the week. Look, if the drivers are winning, they'll say they love the car. If they're not, they'll say they hate the car. Does it need a different style of driving? Yeah, it absolutely does. There's a lot of management. And as a driver, look, you're a racer. When you've got to be flicking buttons and switches and remembering what to push here, there, braking earlier than you'd like to on a straight, does that take the joy out of racing? Or do you actually like the challenge of having to think through the way in which you drive? Would you rather be driving by instinct or by methodology?
And a lot of, from Fernando's standpoint, why would you want to change everything that you've been doing? And for a lot of these young guys, it's just something different, and they're going to learn it a lot faster. When I got to the end of my career, you learned things a lot slower, and you had to spend a lot more time doing them. And not to mention, you have other things going on in your life. As life evolves and you get older, you don't have as much time to spend to learn something new. So that's the cycle of racing.
Right, next up, a segment of the show where your comments and your questions will be heard and will be answered. And in a throwback to the classic Dave Despain wind tunnel, yes, we have bobbleheads, and yes, we will send them to whoever comes up with the best question of the week.
Well, do we get approval over these bobbleheads? Because I'd like to flush out some of the gray hairs.
Yeah,
and
mate.
things.
So apparently they're in production, but they will be with us. They will be with us soon, and they will be with you shortly after if you submit our favourite question of the week. Let's hear our first question.
Hi, I'm Alina Jarvis, and this is Tyler Jarvis. We're from Daytona Beach, Florida. Say something nice about Kyle Busch.
That's not a question, that's more an order.
Yeah, well, I will say something nice about Kyle Busch. He's one of the greatest NASCAR drivers of all time. But
there's a but. You said say something nice.
Yeah, I did. I did say something nice. He's one of the greatest NASCAR drivers of all time. I think you saw that again in the truck race this weekend at Atlanta. And I think that he's struggling in the Gen 7 car.
Okay, next question.
Hey, my name's Brad. I'm from Philly. I'm wondering, what's the best tradition in NASCAR? Is it drinking?
Oh, that's a great question.
He probably likes to drink in. Taking your top off and drawing a smiley face on you.
Well, I would say that my favorite thing in NASCAR currently, if you want to go down the drinking path, is pulling into the tunnel at Darlington. It looks like you went back in time because there's blue tarps, tents, everything that you could imagine from what something would look like in the 1970s is right there in the infield at Darlington.
That's the best tradition, you reckon?
Well, that's the most relevant to his drinking question.
Fair dues.
Yeah.
Next question.
Hi, it's Sue from Melbourne, Australia. Will and Kevin, just wondering what you think Oscar Piastri's chances are this year in the Formula One.
Oh, hi, Sue. Long way from Melbourne, Australia to Daytona. Right. Yes, I think if the car's there, Oscar's got it. He fell off 3/4 of the way through the season. I think the pressure just got to him a little bit. But people forget he led 3/4 of the F1 championship last year. And for me was by far and away the better McLaren driver.
Absolutely.
By far and away.
100%. From just a casual fan, Oscar is definitely McLaren's best driver.
Yeah. Yeah. So if they've got the car, it's an Oscar championship. Next question.
Hey, Kevin and Will, Nate from Tennessee here. And I was wondering, Will, we were both on Netflix. Who do you think was the bigger star? Was it me? Was it you, Kevin?
Not me.
It definitely wasn't me. I don't know that I've...
Well, guys, I just got shivers down my spine. There's no greater sound than that sound. 25 IndyCar engines firing up for the start of the season. I cannot wait to get this thing underway.
25 2.2-liter turbocharged V6 engines fired up and ready to go. And you know that turn one here, it's not just an interesting turn one because it's coming off a runway into a tight city street. It's the very first corner of the season. It's been 6 months since these guys have gone racing. It's interesting to see what happens when they all file down there for the first time.
Well, one of the guys we're excited to watch will be starting 8th. Let's see if we can dial him up. A Pato award. It's Townsend and your friends in the Fox booth. You copy?
Yeah, I copy.
Hey, bud, long off season. The last time we saw you on Fox, you were driving a garbage truck. What's it like to be back in your Indy car?
Good to be back racing. Race mode, baby. We're ready to go.
You're starting 8th. You got some moves to make. You know, a lot of people wonder what's your play in the first corner. It's so wide on the runway. Any kind of plan you're making right now?
Don't screw up.
Words of wisdom. Have a great race, my friend. We'll see you afterwards.
Dialed in. Love that for Pato. As he circulates around this circuit, why don't we take a closer look at the circuit with the Honda track preview.
14 turns, 1.8 miles here around the streets of St. Petersburg. And as we've talked about, that long front straight down the runway into the tight braking turn one. Best place for overtaking, and it's all compromised through 2 and then flat out through turn 3 onto the back straight.
Yeah, that turn 3, one of the most treacherous in the world of street racing. Then you get down to turn 4. It's super bumpy right there as you get on the brakes, try to make a move, and then it narrows up through the canyons, 5, 6, 7, and 8, all the way to turn 9.
Important to get that good run off at turn 9. This kink down the back straight along the water, flat out into turn 10. We've seen a lot of issues there, not just in practice, throughout races in the past. Flat out through the 11-12 chicane and qualifying and into that crucial final sector.
Yeah, that brake zone for 13 is tricky as well. If you lock up a tire, it's easy to slide wide and onto the grass. St. Pete, 1.8 miles, 25 cars. Get ready for chaos.
So changes with the tire rules and the tire compounds over the winter. Kevin, I know that you can tell us more, so why don't we take a look at the tires with Tire Talks, sponsored by Firestone.
And there's also a new technology with Firestone called Enlighten. It's all part of their efforts to create more sustainability. And as you mentioned, there is a new rule this year. Each team must use 2 sets of softs. Those are the red sidewall tires. And we go over to Josef Newgarden's pits, and he has a plethora of them because he didn't advance through qualifying. He has 3 sets, which opens up the options. It can be a 2-stop race on fuel. The big question coming in, though, are the softs going to last long enough, more than 30 laps, to be able to make that happen? A lot of unknowns. We shall soon see. To Georgia Henneberry.
Well, one thing we do know is Scott Dixon is a 6-time series champion, and if that stat doesn't impress you enough, he has 21 straight seasons with a win, but he hasn't won here on the streets of St. Petersburg. He's been 2nd 5 times, 8 times on the podium, but has not gotten that win. Today is going to be challenging for him. He starts down in the 16th position, but they're fast, they're confident, and we know anyone can do it. From later in the field, it's Scott Dixon. Jack.
Thanks, G. Driver I'm watching today, Marcus Ericsson. He started on the outside of the front row. But one of the coolest things about Marcus this weekend, he has a partnership with the Peyton's Children's Hospital. And through that, the ambassador program, people are designing hats, baseball hats for Marcus to wear and represent throughout this entire season. And I just think that's a really great story for a really great guy.
Yeah, a lovely story, Jack, as we ride on board with Marcus Ericsson, courtesy of Delaware Life. Difficult 2025, hoping to bounce back and starting from the front foot in second place on that front row of the grid. Scott McLaughlin will start from pole as they pull up now behind the 2026 Honda Civic Type R, which leads the field around Hinch. Townsend, this is the moment we have been waiting for 6 long months.
6 long months. These drivers are itching to go. They've done a little bit of testing in the offseason, especially these last few weeks, but nothing substitutes getting racing, the adrenaline rush you feel going into that first turn.
And you heard the wisdom from Pato Award, don't screw up. The question is that same voice in the other 24 drivers' heads as they get an opportunity on the widest straightaway we see all season?
Some seeking redemption, everyone chasing perfection, and the ultimate prize, the 2026 IndyCar title. It has been 6 months, but finally, the fastest racing on earth is back as the field paddles to green, and we are racing in St. Pete. Scott McLaughlin immediately going on the defensive. It's a good start from Marcus Ericsson. A good look up the inside from Dennis Hauger. Do they make it through cleanly? They all appear to do so, and Scott McLaughlin holds the lead from the pole, and Hauger has lost 1 place, and that is to the champion, Alex Palou. Big move on the rookie, and that is another position gained, but a crash. And big crash behind. There's 2 cars in the barrier. Stingray Robb, I believe, is one of them. Full course yellow. Oh, and that is Mick Schumacher in there as well, and Marcus Armstrong.
I don't think that's Marcus Armstrong.
I believe Stingray Robb and Mick Schumacher all together there as Mick Schumacher launched off the back of Ferrucci. Emma Dixon, wife of Scott Dixon, looks relieved.
Guys, we talk so much about turn 1 being chaos. The thing about turn 4 is it tightens way up. Turn 1 is so wide. You can run through there 2 wide, 3 wide. We saw 3 wide through turn 4 just ahead of these cars. But once one gets into the barrier, it usually bounces back. Half the track width is gone, and there's often some innocent bystanders in that.
So let's take a look at everybody weaving down into turn 4. Keep your eyes towards the rear of the field. That's where it's all going to happen.
You see that 3 wide happen before. Okay, so it's Ferrucci and Stingray Robb side by side going in, and Mick Schumacher just an innocent bystander there.
Mick Schumacher, son of 7-time Formula 1 world champion Michael Schumacher, making his IndyCar debut over before it started. An innocent victim really in that.
Still a truck and 2 cars, drivers left, turn 4 in the tires.
Are open. We are going to stay out. Stay out, confirm. Yes, confirm, stay out. Copy.
All right, bud, just keep everything a little bit warm, but save us as much fuel as you can here on these yellow laps. The 2-stop window opens at 32 or thereabouts. so keep that in mind. If some more yellows start coming out here, that becomes in play, so fuel's still important for us, but yep.
Welcome back to the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg on Fox, presented by Pods. The AMR safety crew doing a great job to clean up the mess down there at turn 4. Mick Schumacher out, Santino Ferrucci out, Stingray Robb involved in that accident as well, but managing to get away again. We ride on board here with Santino Ferrucci. Listen to the tire squeal.
That's the tire squeal from Stingray Robb, who was all locked up on cold tires and just kept going straight with the tire lock. Took out Ferrucci and Mick Schumacher. But James, you were excited about the start.
Yeah, the young Kiwi right here, Marcus Armstrong, in that white and red car, goes down the inside of David Malukas, and Romain Grosjean pulls off both of those moves. He got another car then into turn 4 ahead of that accident that caused the yellow up to P4 for the Meyershank driver. Great start from Armstrong.
Was telling us before the race, if he wins this one, he's going to charter a flight to Vegas. Marcus Armstrong, who is yet to win a race in the NTT INDYCAR Series, but is so highly regarded, had a brilliant off-season of testing, and really arrived here high on confidence as to what the team could achieve. We are under full course yellow. A couple of drivers have come in to take a stop, though, under the full course caution. That is Scott Dixon and Alexander Rossi, to get rid of alternate tires and jump onto the primary.
I mean, this track, obviously a difficult one, has never run caution free in the 23 years we've run it. We had only one caution last year, went green the rest of it, but here, this is on board from Stingray. You can see immediately he locks up that outside front first, the left front, and just so much speed, head of steam. Ferrucci nowhere to go.
On board with Graham Rahal, and there you see Stingray lunging in there, locked up.
Ferrucci had gone long as well. He had locked up. And you see the tire smoke up in front, and Siegel able to just stay low and out of the problem.
It looked to me like Ferrucci must have had a spotter in his ear telling him to stay wide, because they saw Stingray coming with a head of steam there. I would have liked to see Mick Schumacher stay in the car to see if it was drivable, because I didn't think the contact was that hard. But either way, Georgia, he is out. What can you tell us about Dixon?
Well, I can tell you Dixon's back on pit lane. This is now his second stop. What I've heard over the radio is that he's going to top off on fuel and change the left rear tire on that car. That's the only tire sitting out there right now. Mike Hall was pretty honest with us earlier and said it's going to be a roulette day on tires. So right now, that's what they think is necessary.
And the reason they say a roulette day on tires is they don't get enough practice to really see how long that those alternates are going to run down, what kind of degradation we're going to see. So this is a great call from the PNC Bank crew. Mike Hall calling strategy for Dixon, as he has for so long, to so much success. But he's now satisfied one of the 2 sets of the softs that he has to use. And by topping up on fuel, he can make this easily now on 2 more stops.
So strategy already starting to work itself out here in St. Pete. Scott McLaughlin will take us back to green. Ericsson remains second. Alex Palou is up to third. Armstrong, with a barnstorming start, is fourth. Then it's rookie Dennis Hauger, David Malukas, Romain Grosjean, Louis Foster, Felix Rosenquist, and Pato O'Ward, who's lost 2 places from his P8 starting point. McLaughlin gets his foot to the floor. We have a green flag, and once again, we're racing. Riding on board with the pole sitter and our race leader on the run down to turn 1. Malukas with a big lockup down into turn 1. Almost contact from behind by Romain Grosjean, as again they file through the tricky turn 2 and turn 3. And I'm hearing that Stingray Robb, who did manage to continue, will be given a penalty for avoidable contract.
Yeah, easy call there for the stewards. As we see a big lunge now, that's Will Power on the inside of Kiffin Simpson. He's on those hard tires, and you can tell on the exit, trying to get back to Power. TWJ AI on board showing us now, looking back at Kiffin, who's been having a great weekend himself.
Nice to see Will Power confident and aggressive early. It's been a tough weekend for him, finding the balance and the chemistry in his new team, but in the cockpit, we know he's fierce, making moves. He's up to 13th.
And not just confident, Townsend, confident on the brakes, which has been the #1 issue on that 26 machine this weekend.
Well, not just for Will Power. We saw the Malukas lock up there. Stingray obviously with a massive one there at the start of the race. So several drivers trying to find the feel of those front tires as we take a look at David Malukas. Just recently here in turn 1, there's that left front. That's a big flat spot, James.
Yeah, that's not gonna feel great once you're going 180 miles an hour. You can see he gets onto that paint, and as soon as he crosses onto the paint, that left front, oh, you can see the vibration in the wheel.
Yeah, that's going to make for a long first stint, Will. If the vibration is as big as I would expect, it's kind of a miserable situation with about 25 laps still to go until his first scheduled pit stop.
No such problems for Scott McLaughlin, leading by just under a second from Marcus Ericsson, who has his mirrors full of the one man that you really don't want to have stuck behind you. Four-time champion Alex Palou on the hunt. Alexander Rossi, big moves from the start, up 7 places. Marcus Armstrong, Hinch, as you've already said, up 3 places, and he now sits behind Alex Palou. Lovely start from him. And the Dale Coyne drivers, Hauger, as Will Power has to defend from Kiffin Simpson, who's trying to take that place back. They'll go too wide. And Simpson does take the place back. That's racy from Kiffin Simpson.
We told you that they've been very quick this weekend, Kiffin Simpson.
Oh, that's a late move from Venus VK. Very late move on Carl Kirkwood.
That's impressive, though. The driver in his second season here putting moves on a 2-time champion, using those soft tires to his benefit. He'll be right on board now, courtesy of Jay and Booley on Kirkwood's car, the teammate of Will Power. Had an issue in qualifying, was quick all through practice, couldn't put it together yesterday for that lap, but we know there's pace in this car.
The Andretti's have always been so strong on street circuits. Got to say, for Rinus VK, though, to be up there and fighting with him. VK started down in 19th place. He's had a great opening 9 laps. And VK now will be going after Will Power. Grosjean has made a move on Malukas. Malukas has fought for the position back.
And remember, all these drivers have a little tool at their disposal called push to pass. They get 150 seconds of extra boost, gives a little extra horsepower, about 50 extra horsepower on top of the hybrid boost that they get every lap. And managing that push to pass is so crucial in these races. You need it to make overtakes, you need it to defend, but you also need it during in and out laps on these green flag pit cycles, which we're going to see coming around lap 25, lap 30.
And nobody's used push to pass more in the top 10 than David Malukas so far. He's burned about 15 seconds of push to pass. Aggressively trying to squeeze everything he can. Of course, you pay the price later if you use too much early. You don't have much to defend with down the stretch. Kevin.
Well, unfortunately, the season opener ends without a lap completed for Santino Ferrucci. Any chance at all of making it through?
No, you know, honestly, I had an okay start, but dude, it's a 100-lap race, 3 stops. Everybody's on mixed strategies. There's no need to pop 15th or wherever on lap 1. I mean, it's just really not.
I'm sorry, got some issues with Kevin's microphone there. Hopefully we'll be able to hear from Santino in a little bit.
I got the basic gist of the message.
Yeah, I got the basic gist of it. Not a happy bunny. And you can see why all that work, all the anticipation coming into the season, and it's done at turn 4 by, should we say, opportunistic move?
No, because I don't think he was attempting to pass anybody. I think he just made a straight up mistake. That wasn't a pass gone wrong. That was just asleep at the wheel, so to speak, being a little bit too aggressive on that first lap. But you talk about the anticipation.
pace is 64.0. So that just shows you what the pace of the field is right now. Everybody, I think, is trying to make this a two-stop race. Keep doing your thing.
Copy. We'll look at the tire pressures. Tire pressures look good.
got 5 more laps till the window opens.
Two on code for it, so 1 on the right.
Still a tenth quicker than the leader.
Still left side, just down. Still there. All clear, all clear. Mark, 3, 2, 1. Hold the brakes. We're in front of the leader. It's going to be. Go. All right, leader's on the front stretch. Let's go. Exit 1. Pink 1, pink. 2.
pit left, yes, pit, pit, pit. Push hard, box. Be box. Good job there. Take advantage of the clean air. Window 27 laps into the 15 window. Okay, you're a little shorter than that first cycle started. Gold 3. Hit this lap, max overtake. No, sorry, closing after the 15. Hit this time. Hit this time.
Clutch. Down the left guard behind you on Berkowitz. Watch after our tires here. We got a long stint coming up. Coming to recover time, 2 on the cut. Officer out. NASCAR's just into.
So gold 7, gold 7. Fuel 65. So blue 70, blue 70.
Turn four, it's full course yellow. Let's back it down there, we'll get packed up here. Let's float around here, we'll get packed up. Just headed out of turn 3 right now. We'll catch them down into 4 probably.
They be coming back.
Easy through turn 4, and then we'll pack up.
Break. I think you have to be in pit lane, and you need to get clarification, but let's not do anything while this pit cycle's happening.
Any other feedback for Luke here?
I'm glad we got the wake. Worried about the front. But seems okay at the start. Definitely got to run the bar.
Yeah, copy.
Our goal here is 2 stops, so we're trying to do 25 more laps on this set, my friend. 25 more on this set.
Copy 25. Well, there's some guys that were caught short on their first stint on the red that are going to have to stop another third time, yeah?
They're definitely going to be either in large fuel stage or have to stop.
Okay, copy.
Or at some point do an even longer stint on red, because we all have to run twice. There were some people out there that made the red last time, or people have struggled, so you know what to do.
Or, excuse me, haven't come up as much as we would like. Lights are out on the pace car, bud. We're going to be green next time by. Green next time by.
All the way to the backside.
Keep working on your temps here, bud. You can have fuel to work on your temps here. Remember, your switch is gold 2. Remember where the restart zone is. All right, let's get ready here. Gold 2. Remember to protect the inside 4 on this restart, bud. Let's have a good one here. Get ready to go. Green, green, green. Good job on the fuel. All right, so you're doing a great job on your fuel number. It's giving us some flexibility with the windows, so just keep us posted on tires when we get a little bit closer. I'll remind you.
slowly checking. I still got some.
All right, bud, we're going to blacks. We're going to take out one turn. Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, nice and easy on the marks. Open in. 3, 2, 1. Get our revs up. Let's get ready to go. Clear out. Gold 2. Gold 2. Blue 80. Have a great outlaps here. Great outlaps. Keep pushing here, bud. You're doing a great job. Great job. Here we fully open here. Here we fully open. Hit your marks. Hit your marks. Three, two. Go. You'll be blending out here with a bunch of cars, Joseph.
Next one's the middle of one now. IndyCar leaving one off.
Liquid 5, 28 car 4, 28 car ahead is 4 laps before. Got 20 laps to go, 2-0. Car in front is red, 63 seconds OT. No pressure behind.
Push the pass, can't lift, you get an overboost if you lift. 3 main, 16 lap 3 main.
Pressure on Louis, bud. Looks like he's struggling a little bit. Go purple 4, 13 to go.
Copy. Understood. That's Kirkwood. Erickson is 5.5 seconds behind. 4 laps to go. Grade 5, same at 6, a little more performance. 3 to go. Checker flag, dude. Checker flag. That's P5. Really good way to start the season. So we didn't have it there at the end, but hey, we'll take those points and move on. Good job to you. Good job to everyone in the pit. Thank you for the first one under our belt. Yeah, good job, everyone. Solid start. You can find a little tire pickup on your way in. podium pile.
All right, let's recap. 3, 2,